Last year on Driving Television, we had a chance to drive the new G37 Coupe, and we liked a lot about it. It drives very well, but we had a few reservations around the styling, and we found the inside kind of cramped.
This is the new G37 Sedan. It has the same engine and transmission as the Coupe. This is a more practical option for people who don't want to buy a German performance luxury sedan.
There are 4 G sedans to choose from: the basic G37, then the G37 all-wheel drive, the G37 with the sport manual transmission, and the G37 Sport all-wheel drive that we have here. Styling is held over from the G35 sedan with minor changes to wheel design.
The G Sedan has been a favorite for buyers who want to have just as much fun and performance as the German car buyers, but not spend as much money. The G37 Sedan starts at $37,900 and you get 328 horsepower. Now, if you want that much performance in, say, a BMW, you're going to have to buy the 335, and it costs about $49,000. That's a huge difference.
We'll get into the performance in more detail in just a second. Let's have a look at this car first of all. This is the longest car in this class. It's longer overall than the 3 Series from BMW, the C-Class from Mercedes, the IS from Lexus, the A4 from Audi, and it has the longest wheelbase. But, however, it is the narrowest of all of those cars. So you've got a long, narrow car, which has its advantages and disadvantages, mostly on the inside.
The trunk is a pretty good size, but the seats don't fold down. All you get is a ski pass-through. The G has some nice features that are premium on other models, like an intelligent key with push-button start and xenon headlights. Infiniti also has scratch guard paint that actually blends back in after a small scratch.
The G37, as we mentioned, is the narrowest car in this class, and the complaint we have about this car is the same we had about the Coupe and the EX crossover that is based on this platform. The space between the door and the center console is rather narrow, so if you're a big person, you need not apply. The funny thing is, there are even bolsters that are adjustable in the seat that make the seat even narrower. I can't even fathom that. The other thing is the rake of the windshield and the roof is rather low, and my hair's almost touching, and I'm 6 feet tall, so if you're over 6 feet tall, you're going to have to drive like this.
The back seat isn't that much better. If you position the front seats how you like it, there's not a lot of legroom and there's not very much space to tuck your feet under either. Now, for a vehicle that's got the longest wheelbase and the longest overall dimensions, there really isn't a lot of space back here. The G37 comes nicely equipped, including tilt and telescopic steering with the instrument cluster along for the ride. There are radio controls on the wheel and the wheel is leather wrapped.
Now, the dash of the G37 sedan, it's simple, it's clean, it's easy to use. Thank you.
I use the navigation system quite a bit on these vehicles, and the nav system on here is really easy and, well, easy to navigate, pardon the pun.
All right, now the radio and the heat controls are also very simple, easy to get to. The nice thing about the interface system they have on this Infiniti is once you've gone through and you've set everything up the way you like it, you don't have to keep going back and using it ever again. It's uncluttered and simple. Now, what about this silver on the inside? Isn't that nice? You know what it's supposed to look like? It's supposed to look like that thin Japanese paper, but done in silver. It's very nice. Now, the first question you might be asking yourself is, can a Japanese sedan be as good as German sedans that cost as much as $10,000 more? The answer is yes, and in some cases, a big yes. Lacey mentioned the G37 has 328 horsepower, which is more than the BMW 335, the C350 from Mercedes, and the Audi A4 3.2. Torque is 269 pound-feet, which is more than the Mercedes and the Audi, but less than the BMW 335. The G37 competes nicely, and with the power to go with the best, it makes the price advantage that much more appealing. Not only did they bring in the new 6-cylinder into the sedan, they also brought in the same 7-speed automatic that you find in the Coupe. This is a beautiful automatic transmission. Now, you just leave it in D and it's nicely aggressive, but you can slide it into S, and now the shifts are much more aggressive. And when it downshifts automatically, it blips the throttle in between shifts to give you nice, precise downshifts. And the same is true when you use the manual setting. And when you get this model, the top-of-the-line all-wheel drive, it comes with the paddle shifters behind the wheel that look a lot like the Nissan GTR. If you get the manual version of the G37, it comes with a 6-speed unit. Now, the benchmark in this class of car has always been the BMW 3 Series, but the gap is shortening oh so much, and in the case of this vehicle, I think it's on par for the dollar amount. If you were going to buy this car for roughly $40,000, you get this over 300 horsepower car. When you get the BMW version, you get the less powerful 328. However, I don't think this car has the same bottom-end grunt that you get with the 335, but that car's $10,000 more. It's got a beautiful engine, it's wickedly quick, it's got a fabulous transmission. If I had to choose this car over a C-Class or an Audi A4, I wouldn't hesitate.
This car has been really well thought out. Infiniti didn't just throw in a bigger engine and then call it a day. The chassis is really up to the challenge, and the ride's been tuned more for performance over comfort. Some of the German competition has become a little soft, but the G37 has a firm, unflappable ride that some will love and others might find a bit choppy. When the G37's equipped with all-wheel drive, the driving dynamics are not compromised. In fact, the G37 becomes a corner-eating machine. The system puts most of the power to the rear wheels for true performance sedan feel, but it transfers power to the front for optimal traction when it's needed. The Audi A4 has always been one of my favorite cars in this class, and a lot of the things that I like with the A4 I also really like with this G37. For example, it's got comfortable seats, great handling, and a wonderful engine. But I think one thing that sets the G37 apart for me is that when you put your foot down, you can really hear the growl of the engine.
What Hyundai's been able to prove with the Genesis is that the Asian manufacturers, when they put their mind to it, they can come up with vehicles that compete nicely with a lot of the import German and European manufacturers. So does this G37 sedan make you want to give up your dream of owning a German sedan maybe?
You know, Zach, this G37 is really winning me over, and the first thing that's really attractive about it is the price. As you mentioned it before, it is a lot less than the competition, and with that price, you get a wonderful 328 horsepower engine. And one thing I really love about this car is the styling. On the outside, it's very elegant looking with nice flowing lines, and on the inside, it's just beautiful and simple, well laid out, and the fit and finish is just gorgeous. And on the downside, the fact that the back seat doesn't fold down is a huge turnoff. I can't take it to IKEA to go shopping. There's not a lot of space in it back there. Zach, what do you think?
Well, a lot of the stuff I'm going to mention really mirrors what Lacey was saying. First of all, the value of this car, it's a great price when you consider you get a beautiful engine in there, 328 horsepower, a beautiful 7-speed automatic transmission that is so smooth. It matches the revs on downshifts, the paddle shifters. It has great driving dynamics. When you get the all-wheel drive, it really pulls out of the corners nicely. It's a great car, and when you look at it on paper, horsepower versus price, it blows the Germans out of the water. And when you look at the inside, I really like the execution. It's simple, it's uncluttered, it's what I like in a sedan. It has all the toys you could want, but it's executed simply, which is perfect. The only downside for me, and we touched on it, is if you're tall or if you're a little bit bigger, you're just not going to fit in this car very nicely. And Lacey, that's one of the things that the Germans do well. They produce compact cars for big people, tall people, and you can fit in there nicely. Which brings me, Lacey, to the whole IKEA thing. You know, you don't take anything but a Volvo wagon to IKEA. Come on.
I'm learning.
For complete specs, go to our website at drivingtelevision.com.